Okay, so quick three quick things before we begin this video. One, and all of this, all three of these things is due to my sense of urgency in regard to this particular topic and this video in and of itself. I feel as though it's an emergency issue. I can't stop myself. I can't hold back. I need to jump on this immediately, largely because I guess I somehow managed to lose my Hangouts app, or maybe I just don't know how to do it properly. But where people do live streams, on their channel, where people do a live stream and they have people, responding via a chat line, an active chat line that's happening. I used to be able to do that. I used to be able to jump on that chat line. Now I don't know how to do it, and I was unable to interact with this particular person. Although I did post a very generous comment regarding her material and what I thought of it, that of course spoke against her material to some extent, and warned that she was in fact doing damage to the people that were listening to her, and she didn't get me on the chat or respond to it in the live stream, but she went ahead and immediately deleted that comment, which tisk tisk, that's a no-no. I mean, it was fair game. I didn't say anything offensive to you, madam, which I probably should have, honestly, and that's going to lead to the idea here with this sense of urgency regarding it. So the three things: one, I'm attempting to block out background lights so that you guys can actually see me, which, I mean, I did have the cool kind of man in the shadows thing going on for a while there in this particular setting with my desk and my cluttered office, but it's not. I do want you guys to see me. I mean, facial expressions speak worlds, speak volumes. In any case, two, I'm not absolutely certain how this works, how you can respond to videos. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to post. I've seen people that put in pieces of other people's videos and then respond to them, but I'm not sure if that's something you have to work out with the channel operator and, speak to them directly and have it, allotted for you to do so. I'm not sure how the copyright rules work. I'm not sure what I am or am not allowed to say or to place, but I am sure that I am allowed to post via YouTube whatever does not break their personal policy rules, and I'm also allowed to watch people's videos on my telephone. So I am going to go ahead and show you what I'm talking about on my other telephone, because as far as I can tell, there should be no possible way for me to be infringing upon anything by demonstrating what it is that I'm actually speaking about, which is a channel called Hacking the Headlines. I don't know if you can see that. Hacking the Headlines. This is a woman, a young lady. Anyway, a very beautiful young lady. Could very well be a wonderful person with a little practice. But also, the third thing is I didn't have time, obviously, because of the sense of urgency, and I don't have any money either at the moment. So I couldn't go out. I couldn't run to the store before I made this video. Like I said, I felt I had to jump on it. So just please go ahead and imagine that somewhere right around here there is an apple, preferably golden blonde apple. In any case, to begin, this is going to be my first response video, which is going to launch the playlist I'm going to entitle Reality Checks. That'll be responding to certain videos. In this particular case, I'm going to be responding to a live stream that just happened not too long ago, about an hour or so ago, and ultimately, I think I'm just going to go ahead and respond to the channel in general, because she kept reminding her people against Hacking the Headlines. She kept reminding her people during this live stream that to refer to things that she's posted in earlier videos. So I'm going to go ahead and presume that she has been repetitively posting this bunk nonsense that she is. I'm sorry to speak to it that way. One of the things that makes me an effective director is that I am very capable of placing myself, flipping my gears and placing myself into objective mode. And I can do that, and I'm gonna do that here. But before I flip entirely into objective gear, as it were, I'm gonna have to go ahead and say that what this woman is speaking is bunk nonsense. If you are involved with this channel, and of course, in order to make it official as a response video and to make certain that everything's taken care of in that regard, and that I am in fact being fair play for the most part, being of fair play, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna post a link to um, this particular live stream, or what's recorded of it, in the I'll go ahead and I'll post a link to the live stream as well as the channel itself, if I can, in the description for this video. But this will be my first response video, pretty much to the channel, but to the live stream ultimately as well. But I'm going to go ahead and say, before I flip into objective gear, that what this woman has been speaking to, if you're a fan of this channel, if you've been watching this channel of hers, Hacking the Headlines, I haven't looked into a lot of her stuff. I kind of poked around here and there in the time that I had since watching that, which again was like an hour or so ago. I didn't have a whole lot of time, but for me, it was enough time to look around enough. I can stretch time out in that regard, but it was enough time to ascertain that she's kind of a what you might call a new ageist type of person who is saved, obviously, of course, saved by Jesus, is going to fall into the secular theology category. By the way, insofar as the response video, this will be associated particularly with the secular theology course. And this woman speaks a lot about demons and Jesus and the Bible and what it tells you and all that hoopla. Now, if you're a fan of her channel, and what I saw in the chat, in the live chat for this live stream, was a lot of people speaking truths about themselves and about their presumptions and their experiences regarding such things as lucid dreaming and astral projection, which is astral projection, not astro projection. Astro projection requires heavy machinery and a whole hell of a lot of funding, while astral projection can be done by anybody in your bed anytime you want to, or anywhere for that matter. Really, you can do it right now if you want to. If you have that fusion aligned and you're capable of accessing your perpetual self, you can be both projecting into a phantom body and existing in this one at the same time. That, in fact, I do believe, theoretically speaking, is what was what likely was meant in speaking to Jesus having been in two places at once. Any case, this woman spoke to sorry, I almost forgot before I switch in. I almost flipped gears there for a moment, but let's hold back for a second and hit the brakes and say, just raise a single simple query for this woman in particular. Firstly, I'd like to say that anything I say in this, you are more than welcome to respond to directly, madam. And I've already informed you that I'm going to be doing this video, and I'll give you a link to it as well in the comments for your live stream. But I encourage you. In fact, I challenge you to respond, to speak. If you're so secure in your faith, you should have no problem speaking to me directly. And in fact, I would like to request that you do an interview for my channel regarding the course on secular theology. And again, I can flip into objective gear. I'm biased in this consideration personally, but I'm also an investigator, and being an investigator, I can flip into objective gear. It's what makes me an effective director, and I will do that. I will afford you that common courtesy. That common sense, kind of common political courtesy or socio-political courtesy that you seem to be denying your viewers, because when they speak to their experiences, you just immediately disregard them and or antithesize them for the most part, like vehemently oppose their views based on your own dramatically misinformed understanding. And before I flip over into that gear, I have to raise three queries. One, the question as to whether you'd be accepting of doing a formal interview for my channel and for my course on secular theology. B, I should like to state that you are in fact dramatically misinformed, and I honestly I refuse to believe that you or anyone for that matter could actually be this fucking stupid. And I'm sorry to say that. I'm not trying to be offensive. It's a remark regarding my observation on the matter. I refuse to believe that you could actually be this off a person, and I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to presume that it's likely due to that heavy indoctrination you'd have faced in meeting with this particular religion that you're a proponent of, and it's is going to speak to the issue in its entirety that the indoctrination is even involved. Obviously, you stated that you've been involved with matters regarding astral projection and dream works before you began this channel, and it's something you've done in the past but no longer do, which we're going to speak to that in a minute. But so, I mean, obviously, you faced a certain degree of indoctrination, a measure of indoctrination in your transferal, your rebirth as, a reborn Christian type Jesus worshiper. In any case, the last thing I'd like to say, the simple query I'd like to raise is how fucking dare you? How dare you? You just, we'll get to it. But flipping into objective here, I'd just like to state that this woman spoke. She vehemently does not recommend practicing lucid dreaming. I'm gonna actually turn on her. I don't want to respond directly to the live stream as a video because her title is terrible and she even put a horrible grammatical error in it. So I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna hope that I'm allowed to play a little bit of what she said here, and go with that. And I'll just play that in the background and kind of respond to it as it goes along. All right, hey everybody, welcome back to Hacking. She's streaming this live and she's speaking to people now. There are people who spoke to. Firstly, one query that was raised is: do you believe that the flat Earth, the biblical flat Earth, mind you, not just any flat Earth principle, but the biblical flat Earth is a psyop? Which I'm not sure exactly what that's supposed to mean, and it didn't seem she did either. But it's really, I guess I'm asking, what is that supposed to mean? Firstly, anybody out there who believes that the Earth is flat, like actual flat, like a disc, talk to me about that. I would love to discuss that, because that's like, especially considering that the current theme for the initiative, that I work for the initiative, the current theme for the group page is illness, particularly mental illness. I'd love to speak about this flat Earth theory, but like, where do you get that idea? I guess, basically, and how do you believe in it? A. B. If you'd like, I can actually show you how to scientifically prove that the Earth is both flat and round at the same time. So that could be a boon for you, although it really doesn't help your argument on the matter. It's a simple matter of physics, really. Dimensionality, dimensional qualities. But is a flat Earth, the biblical flat Earth, a psyop? And she says, I think that there are aspects to the biblical flat Earth that are a psyop, whatever that means. It's like, I mean, what are you thinking psyop means? A, what is that referring to? B, why is it a biblical flat Earth? If the Earth is flat, doesn't necessarily have to be a biblical consideration. But whatever the case may be, I guess it's generally speaking perhaps making us believe the Earth is round, a psychological operation, a mind control issue. I gotta pause on that one, obviously, for obvious reasons. Anybody that's been with me, you should know why. Or perhaps is making people believe that the Earth is flat. A psychological, a psychotropic, or invasive thought control procedural. I don't know. I don't understand that. I just wanted to raise that as a topic because what the fuck are you talking about? Anyways, she says she's gonna take too long in this one to get to. I mean, this is fucking hour and a half long or something, hour and 10 minutes, but it's gonna take too long to get to where we need to be. I just wanted to give a quick demonstration of her speaking. She has a beautiful voice. She looks like a beautiful young lady. It's a shame that she is really an enemy to humanity. I mean, she suggests that she used to practice lucid dreaming, but she does not anymore because it's practicing lucid dreaming, in her opinion, her suggestion is opening yourself up to demons and to demon infestation. I'm trying to be objective. I'm trying to be friendly about this. I'm trying to contain my anger on the issue. So, roll with me. And if I happen to laugh at some of the ridiculous sentiments that are regarded here, at least I'm not screaming because I feel like it. I cannot allow, I have to respond to this in an emergency fashion because if you want to believe such ridiculous things as you do, go right ahead and do that. But please try to keep it to yourself and amongst your small community, whomever you deal with, whomever programmed you to believe this way. I'm sure they'd love to share it. But if you're going to go out on YouTube and you're going to teach people this, and you're actually going to argue against their not even argue. She doesn't even raise an argument. This woman, she just flat out states that they're wrong. Speaking to natural issues like lucid dreaming. She believes that lucid dreaming is opening herself up to demons, opening yourself up to demons. She also states that she doesn't believe that you can be possessed by demons, which is what the Bible actually says. It speaks to demon possession. She says that she thinks you can be suppressed by demons somehow, but not actually possessed, which now she's just kind of making up her own contradictory sentiments as she goes along. For the most part, working kind of with the Bible as a base that she can just string along her own ideas from, which, I mean, I guess you're allowed to do that, of course, but as I was saying, if you're going to go and teach people that and tell them that they're wrong in believing otherwise, I'm going to have to speak to that. I'm going to have to do what I can to put a stop to that. It's tis, no, not on my watch. And I'm here. I'm on the scene now. I am no longer directly affiliated or held back. I'm no longer, what's the word? I'm no longer relegated to the initiative. I am free to do as I please here, and I'm going to go ahead and speak my mind. Doesn't matter. She says that lucid dreaming is absolutely not recommended, that you don't want to practice lucid dreaming, which, by the way, lucid dreaming is a manner in which you're it's a context in which you are experiencing what we would call a classic dream during sleep, during REM sleep. But you are awake and aware of the fact that you are dreaming, which, generally speaking, is she's speaking to lucidity in general, which you can be dreaming right now. You can be wide awake and dreaming. It's lucidity is a measure that you have to take into account at all times. And so she's speaking to lucidity in general as being a manner of opening yourself up to demon infestation. Not possession, mind you, suppression, but demon infestation of some sort. And that it is promoted by demons, that dreaming and lucidity, and especially practicing lucidity whilst dreaming, is the devil's work, she says. And some people stated that they said that their dreams were beneficial to them and they had worked through some of their personal demons in that regard. And she said, well, you have to remember that Satan appears often as an angel of light, and that any heroin addict, she equates lucid dreaming to heroin addiction. She says that Satan often appears as a spirit of light, which Satan isn't even the right word to be using, lady. And B, you're going to go ahead and you're going to say that, well, sometimes the things that are evil appear to be good and do good for you, but if we disagree with them, they're still evil. That's, I mean, where do you get this kind of logic from? The Bible, obviously. Which, of course, a lot of people made comments or shared, um, shared chat stream live, comments in there regarding Jesus is the answer, saying that, Jesus is always the answer. As long as you have Jesus, you're taken care of and everything's fucking hunky dory kosher for you. Whatever you happen to decide is true, it's okay if you have Jesus in your heart, which doesn't really mean anything to begin with. A, B, why? Like, if anybody can come on here and comment and tell me what the fuck it means to say that Jesus is the answer, please inform me, because I'm terribly uneducated in this regard. I'm too stupid to get it. People all over the place say that, Jesus Christ is always the answer, and I'm not understanding what that's even supposed to mean, largely because it doesn't seem to make any rhetorical sense whatsoever. But, I mean, whatever. I could be logically dysfunctional. But please explain that to me. I would love for you to, especially equating such things as dreaming, which again, dreaming, lucidity, these are both facets of your life that you're going to encounter at random if you're not practiced in it, if you're not a practice spotter and you don't know how to control these things, if you don't know how to jump into your own dreams at will, and if you don't know how to control your dreams, if you don't know how to become lucid and aware and maintain lucidity, then it's going to happen at random regardless. You can't really control that until you learn to, which she also says that learning to control these things is a practice of Taoist Buddhism or what did she say? Tibetan Buddhism, which she refers to as being a death cult because she says that the Tibetan Book of the Dead teaches transferal into the void of the bardo, and that this is training a person for death, which is a natural occurrence, mind you. And if God, your biblical God, was involved in creating death, then it's kind of imposed upon us, isn't it? Not to mention the fact that your God went ahead and murdered a whole bunch of people and continues apparently to murder people en masse as he sees fit. So death is kind of imposed upon us in that regard, and we do want to kind of be prepared for it to some extent, if possible. But she refers to the practice of preparing for death, or even discussing it really, as being as Buddhism being a death cult. That's where the "how dare you" comes into effect, considering that Buddhism is largely where your Christianity is going to have stolen a great deal of its understandings. And mind you, I have to make note here for you because you don't seem to be of the understanding that your biblical scripture is the very youngest, very newest, very most immature and illogical, irrational faith that's ever been presented. Taoism, Buddhism, Hinduism, all of these religions, they're not really religions. Christianity kind of invented religion, really. But all of these practices and worships, all of these methodologies existed long before Christianity, long before the Bible. And in fact, the Bible is pretty much a compendium of stolen scriptures from their understandings. So when you speak to Buddhism as being a fucking death cult, how dare you even suggest such a thing, especially considering that you obviously have no fucking clue what you were talking about. I'm sorry, I'm not in a very objective mode here. I'm being somewhat biased, but I'm being objective insofar as the facts are concerned. Buddhism is much older than Christianity. Every single spirituality that you will ever encounter is much older than Christianity. Every one of these predates Christianity and the Bible and are in fact much more rational, logical, and practical in the sense that they are good for you, whereas Christianity is pretty much one of the only religions that's going to promote, aside from the Muslim faith, which obviously are an extension or a byproduct of that, really. Anything that comes out of that Middle Eastern era and lineage, that placement, are the only religions that are going to promote violence, are going to promote division, are going to promote hating people, hatefulness, fucking discrimination, and murder, and blood sacrifice, and like just these very obviously sort of what you might call sinful acts, and just comprehensions that are so far beyond the realm of logical, rational understanding. And I get that people who are indoctrinated into the Bible, which obviously indoctrination in and of itself being a part of this religion is highly implicative of it being a forced, and of course it was forced. We've spoken to this before. Christianity forced itself upon the world by penalty of death. You were to be castrated and beheaded at least, were you not to accept the Christian faith when it started rolling around the block, pushing its weight around. New kid on the block making a big deal out of itself, a bully on the playground. And largely because it is a political function. This theology, this religion is a political doctrine that's based in manipulating and controlling society. And so, of course, it was widely accepted by murderous, brutal fucking savages. And they went and took charge of it and made use of it to the best of their abilities, forced it around. That's a psyop, by the way. The whole thing. But to refer to Buddhism as a death cult, and she even says that yoga, Kundalini yoga, Taoism, Tibetan Buddhism, Hinduism, all of these regards, she says is a ripoff, is a cheap knockoff of the Holy Spirit, which is actually very factually proven to be a direct ripoff of those spiritualities. Christianity and the Bible is a direct stolen inference from those particular spiritualities that you, milady, just went ahead and called a cheap knockoff of the Holy Spirit, which you very obviously have no connection to or understanding of, because what they refer to as being the Holy Spirit is a very real phenomenon. And it will speak to you directly and inform you of how wrong you actually are were you to be engaged with it. But I'm pretty sure you're probably looking at the Bible and ignoring your experience, which most people tend to do. In any case, my guess, I would have to say, in regards to her giving up on lucid dreaming and giving up on what is a natural process, what she calls ungodly, the operator of this Hacking the Headlines channel, she says, is an ungodly practice. Lucid dreaming, for God's sake, is a God-given aspect of your humanity, and in fact is a secondary, or not even a secondary, but this could be considered, this living, waking, physical, material life could be considered a secondary facet of that life. And your perpetual self, which exists in that dream state, is an entire life that you are living, that you are actively ignoring, that you are deferring from, that you are totally deferring any traffic from. If people speak to you, you divert them away from that. You teach them to abandon that aspect of themselves and to throw away their actual spirituality, which is it. The dream state, engaging the dream state, dream works, lucid dreaming, astral projection, and whatever you want to call it, engaging those dream works, that is the actual real practical functionality of your spiritual aspect. That is how you engage your true spirituality, and it is in fact an extension of your emotional body and the creation of your emotional self, your spiritual self. And you are actively disregarding it, throwing it away. You're calling it ungodly and evil, and you are in fact abandoning the higher, more aware, more lucid aspect of yourself because the Bible told you to, because Christianity told you that you need to throw away your natural abilities, that you need to be afraid of your natural talents. And also, mind you, she speaks to fear. She says that God did not make fear. Fear was not intended by God. Okay, well then, where the fuck did it come from? because you're suggesting that God's the creator of all things, and I'm going to go ahead and agree with you on that. But fear was not a part of that plan. And she says that anyone who's fearful only experiences fear because they don't have Jesus in their lives. Well, you don't have Jesus in your life either. What you have is the worship of a secondhand graven image of a dead man nailed to a stick that you don't even know is real or not. And you certainly can't prove it to any extent. Mind you, actual real practices of spirituality where you can engage your dream state and your perpetual self, your phantom body, your lucid aware reality, that's a practical effective measure by which to directly engage a reality that is present in your life, that is real. And that Holy Spirit that exists in your life, it is present and it is real. While you don't even have evidence to suggest that the things that you consider to be rock solid reality ever even happened. And for the most part, they kind of didn't. I mean, they did in a sense, but only third hand, stolen from previous generations' mythologies regarding it. So you have absolutely no evidence whatsoever, aside, of course, from the Bible and your firm belief in Jesus being the answer, which doesn't mean a fucking thing. I'm sorry that I'm angry about this. I really am. I tried to be. Obviously, where it comes to this specific topic, I can't hold out that objective view. I can be objective in an interview, and I will concede to any logical, rational statements, and I will allow for you to speak your mind, of course. And I'll concede you're a bigger channel than me. This girl has 70,000 subscribers, 70,000 people listening to her, many of which who are saying that they practice lucid dreaming and that it's a benefit to them, and she's shutting them down, saying, no, it's evil, because Jesus said so. Whereas Jesus is likely not a real person at all, let alone present in your life in any way whatsoever. That is a hoax. That's what do we call that? We call that a delusion. We call that a delusion. In children, we call it an imaginary friend. You can speak to God. You can interact with God, with the living world, and it will teach you firsthand. It will show you, matter of fact, what is real, what is sustainable, manageable, what makes sense. It will teach you how to play with the rules of physics and to understand yourself and your soul mechanics, if you allow for it to. But if you shut it down because the Bible told you to, that's exactly the plan it had in mind. The Bible wants you to throw away everything that's natural and inherent about you. The Bible wants you to disregard God. And so, in speaking to some of the people who have asked me what I mean when I say that Christians are not theists, that's exactly what I mean. Christians do not believe in God. Christians believe in a lie. Christians actually believe in the anti-theism. Christians are taught to disregard the actual presence of a real living God. And that is what the Christian faith is based on. It's based on destroying God. It's based on deicide. It's based on eliminating God from your life and being alone, isolated, divided, and open for affordable advantage taking, pretty much. And that's it. It's based on money. It's based on politics. It's based on bullshit. I'm sorry. I have to say that because, I mean, you went ahead and said some shit that's pretty much irreconcilable. You're going to call lucid dreaming ungodly. You're going to call yoga a ripoff of Christianity, where you got it flat out backwards. You're going to disregard the actual real spiritual aspect of yourself in exchange for this very poorly written book that doesn't make much sense at all and is in fact a collection of stolen articles from earlier works. So yeah, I guess I failed in being perfectly objective here, but I mean, she said there's no good side to it, no good side, and I'm gonna have to give my theory here as to what happened there with her practicing lucid dreaming and giving up on it, and giving up on her spiritual aspect because she ran into the Bible and it gave her a better, easier answer. because when she did in fact have bad dreams and face her own demons, she got scared, she got fearful, and she was afraid to fight back. She was afraid to take control. She was afraid to accept her responsibility for herself. And so she backed away. And when the Bible said, hey, it's not your fault, it's not your responsibility, those are demons, they're evil, just stay away from it. And she didn't want to engage something that was frightening her. So the Bible said, stay away from it. And she said, thank you. Thank you for that cop out, and took it and ran with it. And here we are. So, and that's going to be the case with most of them. And you know what? I'm actually hoping I piss off some Christians here. Let's get some responses. Somebody talk to me. You got problems with what I'm saying? Talk to me. If you think you can disprove me in some way, put me down, shut out what I'm trying to tell you. If you think the Bible has more to say, go ahead and present it. Present your evidence. Present your logic. Present your argument, please. I encourage you highly. In any case, that's going to be the end of it. That's my theory. She met up with some of her personal demons. She got scared. She ran away, and the Bible told her it was okay to do that. She never has to try again. And so she took that and ran with it. And now we have this irrational channel that speaks to fucking mythological planets and the Earth being flat and just all manner of ridiculousness. I invite you, madam, to have a personal interview with me if you think that I am an asshole. I'm sorry. I tried to avoid it, but you pushed me here with that. And so I am an asshole. And I apologize for it. I don't want to be an asshole. And I have the utmost faith in you as a human personality that you can, in fact, pull out of this darkness that you are in and realize the true shine in and of yourself, that you can beat that shade and be the shine. I have every last little belief in you, but I'm gonna have to say, just on one last note, this was given to me as a token by my best friend's mother when he died. He committed suicide, and she gave me that to remember him by. She said that he had always wanted for me to have it, and I held on to it as a token to remember him by, and a token of his particular beliefs, which was of course in God, but not necessarily Christianity, because he, even at his young age, was a little smarter than that. But hearing you say these things makes me want to burn this. Makes me want to throw this in the fucking trash. What you're teaching people, what you're training people, you are effectively fighting against the reality of God. You are attempting to commit deicide. You're attempting to kill God and the reality of our actual innate natural spirituality. So that's it. I'm sorry that this was all flustered and berserk and out of whack, and that I got all pissed off. And I'll do better. I'll do better from here on out. I had to vent that. Anyways, we're out of time here. I think I said all that needs to be said. It's my first response video for the reality checks course here. That will be a series of response videos to differing channels and or videos. This is a response to hacking the headlines, and to specifically the streaming, the live stream. I know it's been a while. ... What's new? Oh no, there's only 4 dots. That's one over anyways. That doesn't mean that it's a terrible grammatical error. Not to mention you didn't even put a space between the dots and then what's new, which has a capital W. There's too many mistakes there for me to even list them. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry, hacking the headlines girl. I'm very seriously, I will be absolutely friendly and personable with you if you decide to engage me, and you should have no fear of doing so. You said yourself, fear doesn't exist in those who are, reliant on their faith. You have Jesus as a crutch. You should be able to walk into my doorway. So, love you guys. Kila Salai, Terviuni, Siari Namaste.